What's up, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I just finished watching Love and Marriage Detroit, and it reminds me of the earlier seasons from Love and Marriage Huntsville. So it showcases three couples. Here we have the Harrises. They're on the far right. Russell and Kobe Harris. They're a young couple who's been married for 3 years, and they have a 2-year-old daughter. He considers himself the head of household, and Russell makes a decision to start attending divinity school before even consulting with his wife. Colby, who is a social media influencer, she feels like she should be included in the important family decisions, which obviously she should. But I'm going to read you guys what's on the OWN network, their cast descriptions to introduce them. She is the daughter of a pastor, and she's not sure that she wants to revisit that world for a second time as an adult. Russell also runs a nonprofit called SOAR Detroit, which focuses on literacy and sports. Kobe, like I said, she's a rising social media influencer, and she causes a rift between the more established influencers in the group. So Christina and Kobe are like sisters. Both are in that social media, space in that world. However, the friends become at odds when an opportunity for collaboration presents itself, and Christina is apprehensive about joining forces. So this leads the two to have disagreement that affects their husbands, who are also friends. So that's going to be in later episodes. Next, we have the Smiths. They are in the middle. And Brandon and Christina Bowman Smith have been married for 11 years, and they have two young daughters who are so adorable, by the way. The couple resides in a penthouse that overlooks Detroit. Christina is a well known fashion designer, stylist, and influencer in Detroit. And Brandon is owner of Star Factory, an artist development program and studio where he trains young people of Detroit with a dream to become singers and recording artists. So he calls himself the young Berry Gordy, like a Berry Gordy Jr. type. So he says, the couple are going through marital woes, with Brandon's desire to become the Berry Gordy of 2023. So this is on the OWN network, by the way, with his showcase highlighting Detroit's musical talent. But Christina is strong in her faith and not always pleased when Brandon must go out to the clubs for his talent development business. So this has been causing tension between them since they got married. Brandon is also holding a secret that he doesn't share with his wife, that he's working with a new female artist in Detroit. But when Christina finds this out, it all breaks loose. So that's what's shown on this first episode. I'm going to read the last cast description. So we have the Thompsons on the far left. Anthony and Dr. Latoya Thompson have been married for 14 years, and they share two sons. Currently, Anthony works. I thought they had 3 kids. That's what it shows on the show. That's interesting. Okay, maybe they adopted one, or it was a cousin or something. It says currently Anthony works for a touring company, Live Nation, and he's the owner of a production studio. In this household, Latoya is the breadwinner. Oh, that's interesting. Well, yeah, she's a doctor as a successful sports physical therapist and the owner of Opulence Wines. But you'll never hear Anthony admit that. Ooh, on network, y'all shady. Carlos King, you are shady, shady boots. Okay. In fact, when Anthony was offered a promotion or a production gig in Atlanta, he accepted the job and temporarily moved to Atlanta against his wife's wishes, eventually returning to Detroit once Latoya put her foot down. Anthony also started a men's organization where the goal is to have men to have an outlet to discuss the root of the issue affecting their relationships and life. He even put together a man's movement march in the city of Detroit and invites Love and Marriage Huntsville star and Michigan native Marceau Scott to be guest speaker. Meanwhile, Latoya is struggling as a black wine owner in a predominantly white business and disagrees with her husband, who it does say imitates, but I'm sure they meant to write something else. That he helped build the company. Okay, so you guys can go. I'll link this in the description below if you want to go and read the cast descriptions of the new couples on Love and Marriage Detroit, because I wanted to, watch it and be of an open mind and hope that, Carlos King had learned from casting toxic relationships and chauvinists from Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I guess he figures if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know, because this first episode was triggering to a lot of people. In the comments, I was reading on social media, they're saying a lot of Carlos King's work now is just filled with toxic relationships. You know, I'm gonna begin with, well, I'll begin with Anthony and Latoya, okay, because they've been married the longest. So, she's a doctor. So shout out to her. And she's also a wine owner. But I noticed that she was like the quietest out of all the women, which was interesting. And she said that he moved to Atlanta because he worked with Live Nation. He said he had a deal with Marvel and Disney, but this was during the pandemic. She said, she was taking care of people, being sick in the hospital, as well as trying to take care of their daughters all by herself. And so him just up and moving and leaving her with all that responsibility was overwhelming. So he said that, they would be divorced if he hadn't come back. And, I understand that, because that would be overwhelming, trying to take care of, the kids during homeschool, trying to work. And if she's the breadwinner, then that's a lot of stress on one person, and it's unfair to do that. Him having a man movement and being mentored by Marceau Scott is very interesting, because I wouldn't look to Marceau as a mentor, but that's just me. I don't know anybody that would outside of Anthony Thompson. I feel like the way he treats Tisha, the way that we've seen him, go to Africa, leave her by herself. Even his kids have checked him on being, on his chauvinistic remarks at their dinner table. Is very interesting. So as far as relationships are concerned, they should have had somebody like Dr. Francis, or someone who knows what it takes to have a healthy, marriage. But they weren't trying to hear Dr. Francis. I feel like his truth might have been too hurtful for them. My goodness. Then we have Russell and Kobe Harris, who have been married for 3 years. And, for him to want to go to divinity school, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, but he should talk that over with his wife, his life partner, right? And she's like, I'm not trying to be anybody's first lady. So I don't know, maybe he can, earn his divinity degree and then do something outside of, having a church, where she doesn't feel that pressure. But they're going to have to reach a compromise. The way he talks to her, they had a anniversary dinner for the Smiths, and the way that Russell talked to Colby, again, was just very diminishing and disrespectful, in my opinion. And so I'm like, Carlos, where are you finding these men, these people? So, hopefully, again, they can bring on some kind of therapist to work out those issues, because I didn't like the way that they were, any of the men were talking to their wives, to be honest. Brandon and Christina Smith have been married for 11 years. And the big secret on the show was that, that he was keeping from his wife during the anniversary dinner, might I add, that Colby, told that, she basically spilled the beans, but that he was hiding an artist, a female artist that he was working with, from his wife. So she calls while he's at the studio, and, he's like, well, I shouldn't even have picked up the phone call, and he was just pretty much dogging her out. And she's like, I didn't know that you was working with, a woman artist. And she was telling the group, like, you guys don't know the history. So I'm assuming that he stepped out on their marriage and that she's really hurt by that and that she feels like she can't trust her husband. This um this first episode, it was a lot. And I really hope that we can, going forward, have more shows that show Black love in a positive light, because Love and Marriage Huntsville, Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage DC, from what I've seen and what I can gather, and even reading the comments, right? This isn't just me speaking in a vacuum. They're all very toxic and chauvinistic, and it's disappointing. So with that being said, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Take care, aces. Bye.